listen, folks, I've been there. Not knowing anything about credit cards, understanding credit score, trying to figure out why my credit score was staying the same over all these years, and trying to figure out how to make the most of a good score. And if you're in this boat, that's why I welcome you to watch this video to finally debunk some myths and rumors that I know have held back my score in the past and may be holding back yours as well. But first, as an introduction to who I am to talk about credit, my name's Italo Robinson. I got my first credit card over a decade ago, and I've dedicated a lot more time than I would like to admit to learning about the subject. And it's led me to some results, such as having roughly $100,000 in available credit lines at this point in time, having an excellent score, which I've maintained for over these years, 800 plus. And it's gotten me some offers to some of the best credit opportunities available on the market. And I've earned a pretty ridiculous amount of airline miles and reward points that have allowed me to travel the world essentially for free the last 3 years. And also I've helped almost 150,000 people get approved to credit cards after they've been denied on my YouTube channel. So just to name a few things I've accomplished in the world of credit. So let's jump into it. The first myth to look out for is that paying cash for everything is going to help your credit score. And at a glance, this idea does sound pretty good, right? Using cash means you can't miss payments since you're not ever going to be carrying a balance, and you're never going to have high utilization since you're not even using a credit card or credit to begin with. But in reality, what's going on is you're not even in the game, okay? This is like someone saying maybe that you can improve in life with something even though you don't actually do it. It's like saying your resume is going to improve even if you don't go out and get a job, okay? And this leads me to one quick tangent. This can lead people to also having a thin file, which basically means you don't have enough credit debt and won't be eligible for different things because of it. So, for example, sometimes you have an excellent credit score, a good credit score, even if you just have a few cards, because maybe you haven't made any errors. But I also want to say that I have an excellent credit score, but I also have 20 plus accounts open at the moment with multiple different lenders and different types of credit. So whose excellent score do you think has more depth? Somebody with a few cards or somebody with the amount that I do? The second myth that I want to go over is opening up credit cards will hurt your credit score. And this myth, I do want to say, is partly true because when you do open up a credit card, there are some factors that are going to be negatively impacted. And some of those are, but at the same time, some are going to be positively affected as well. I'm going to make a totally separate video on this so you can understand what happens when you open up a new credit card. But in basically the short term, your score may drop to an increase in hard inquiries, as well as your average credit history taking on a new average and going lower. But in the long term, it's going to go up drastically because many more important factors are going to be positively affected than those in the short term. The third myth is having too many credit cards is going to hurt your credit score. And actually the exact opposite of this is true in the long run, at least. I don't think anyone can have too much credit, just too little. And I hope this analogy helps this make sense to you if you're still questioning it. Say, for example, a random person on the street asks you for $100 and says they're going to pay you back. You're probably not going to do it. But what if 10 people that you know and respect vouched for that person? Maybe saying things along the lines of, yeah, I mean, she paid me back, or yeah, he definitely lent them money, they paid me back, and they even paid me back in interest and other positive compliments, about that person asking for money and in regards to their relationship, lending money to that person. And this is basically the equivalent of applying for credit cards when you already have credit cards open versus someone applying who barely has any at all. So say, for example, you open a credit card with Barclays. What they're going to do is they're going to check and see how many accounts you have and who else has actually trusted you and lent you money in your relationship with that other lender. So if Barclays sees that Citi has already extended you credit, and Wells Fargo, and Chase, and Capital One, and a few others, then what do you think they're going to think, right? They're most likely going to extend you credit as well, as opposed to someone who barely has any accounts open. Because in this case, you have history, while that other person may have just gotten lucky and barely has anything to show for it. The fourth myth is that checking your credit score is going to hurt your credit score. And this is not true, okay? There are two types of credit checks. There's soft and hard inquiries. And a hard inquiry occurs when credit is pulled for an application, and this is going to affect your score with a temporary ding, typically lasting up to 6 months, but staying on your credit report for around 2 years, okay? Soft inquiries do not affect your credit score, so you can ignore them. And an example of a soft inquiry would be a landlord checking your credit, or maybe a job checking your credit, okay? So checking your credit does not trigger either of these soft or hard inquiries, so check your credit as much as you like. It's not going to affect your score. Now, I hope this video helped in debunking a few popular credit myths that I hear all the time. I hope you got some value from it. I'm going to make another video going over another handful of myths soon, so stay tuned for that. And if you're still watching, I can tell that you're interested in the subject of credit and improving your score and figuring out how to leverage it in different ways. So I've actually created a free training series teaching you a couple different things, such as, first off, another video regarding myths that I'm only going to host on that training. And I'm also going to show you how to get out of annual fees while keeping cards open to retain the benefits. And I actually do this on a live call with a rep from Capital One, so you can learn how to never pay annual fees again. Just think of the savings over your lifetime. And finally, show you how I fly to Hawaii for under $20 on a regular basis. And I actually do this in a full screen share so you can follow along. And you can go to Hawaii for under $20 before you know it. So if you're watching this on Instagram, check out the link in my bio. If you're on YouTube, check out the description, other platforms, but also too, drop a comment and let me know what you think. And if you have any other questions regarding credit, feel free to ask. It helps me come up with topics for these videos. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.